It's Friday, March 15. In the headlines, opposition spokesperson on finance Julian Robinson doubts government's reverse tax credit plan. The Privy Council quashes conviction of Vibes Cartel and his co-accused. Scotia Bank increases maternity and paternity leave and includes foster parents. In business news, Maho Gaming to invest $10 million into expansion. Regionally, 250 migrants to be repatriated from the Bahamas to Haiti. And in sports, results of the Issa Urban Area Under-19 Volleyball titles. This is the weekend news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Opposition spokesman on finance Julian Robinson has voiced his doubt about the government's decision to grant a $20,000 one-off payment in the form of a reverse tax credit. He addressed the matter while making his contribution to the budget debate on Thursday.
But I must say, I do not see the potential take-up of this for persons who are not filing their taxes now. The incentive of $20,000, which is a one-off payment, will not bring people into the tax net who are outside. I believe those who are already filing will continue to do so and benefit. But someone who has not filed before is going to assess whether their tax liability is greater than the one-off $20,000 payment.
During his opening statement for the budget debate on Tuesday, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark announced the reverse tax credit for persons earning less than $3 million per annum.
I understand the intent, but I question the extent to which I believe people will take it up. We do have a culture of non-compliance, which is why I say I support the intent. But whether this is enough to get those people who are outside the tax net to now get in, I doubt.
Taxpayers are encouraged to file their returns as early as possible today to get ahead of the usual last-minute rush. They have until 11:59 p.m. tonight, March 15, to file their final income tax returns for 2023 and estimated returns for 2024. According to a statement from the tax authority, all companies, partnerships, self-employed individuals, employed individuals and other sources of income, and all other categories of income tax filers must file their returns online via Tax Administration of Jamaica's online portal at www.jamaicatax.gov.jm. The statement explains that customers can make payments via the tax authority's website using a credit card, banking card with credit card features, or using the Scotia Bank's electronic funds transfer via TAJ's website. The taxpayers can also utilize Scotia's online and mobile app, in addition to being able to make tax payments via the National Commercial Bank, as the respective clientele are able to use their online banking platforms by adding a TAJ as a payee. The Education, Transformation and Oversight Committee, ETOC, is reporting that 97 of the 101 short-term measures being implemented by the Ministry of Education and Youth to improve the education sector are on track. Denise Rodney has the details.
The measures are among 365 recommendations contained in the 2021 report produced by the Professor Orlando Patterson-chaired Jamaica Education Transformation Commission, JETC, to address the gaps and issues found in Jamaica's education system. While providing a progress report at the Overseas Examinations Commission quarterly press conference on Thursday, ETOC Chair Dr. Adrian Stokes said that the short-term measures are designed to yield tangible benefits.
The measures chosen to be implemented in the short term are of such a nature that they are what I would call critical building blocks for other measures to be implemented down the road. But importantly, these measures that are being implemented now are designed to yield tangible benefits, right? You have to show progress, real progress. in the implementation. So it's not just an esoteric exercise or a theoretical exercise, but we need to demonstrate real output from the work that is being done.
Even with such level of success, Dr. Stokes says there are some lagging initiatives.
The 4 initiatives that are lagging are related to, and I will name them. 1, the initiative about making public the reports on school financials and also the work that the NEI does. The second initiative that's lagging is the implementation of the Education Management Information System, or EMIS for short. The third one is the one that relates to improved staffing and training in early childhood institutions. And fourth, the one that relates to consultation on funding models for early childhood and primary education.
Despite the challenges being faced, he says there has been a high degree of implementation of the recommendations.
So overall, what we're seeing, and I'm very, very happy to report that there has been a high degree of implementation of the recommendations for the current period. And I want to, as I indicated before, commend the ministry for that work. I would also like to say that work is taking place in the background to ensure that the progress reporting, the work that we do from ETOC's perspective, is automated.
Dr. Stokes also thanked the members of ETOC, the ministry, and other stakeholders for working in a collaborative manner to achieve success with the transformation effort. Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I'm Danita Rodney.
Cabinet has approved implementation of the social projection for the Increased Resilience and Opportunities project. This follows submissions from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security with comprehensive justification by the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. The project has a price tag of $20 million. That's approximately $3 billion. Minister without portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for information, Robert Morgan, provided details during Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House.
This project seeks to expand social protection coverage in Jamaica to include the establishment of unemployment insurance, providing Jamaican workers with risk protection from economic and climate change shocks.
The Privy Council on Thursday quashed the convictions of 4 men, Adidja Vibes cartel Palmer, Sean Campbell, also known as Sean Storm, Kaira Jones, and Andre St. John, and sent the case back to Jamaica's Court of Appeal for a decision to be made on whether the matter should be retried. They have been serving life sentences for the murder of Clive Lizard Williams since their initial March 13, 2014 conviction. In quashing the murder convictions and placing the question of a retrial back in the lap of Jamaica's appeal court, the British law lords pointed out that judges under the United Kingdom Jury Act can dismiss a corrupted jury and try a case alone. First-time parents who are employed to Scotia Bank are now eligible for more leave time to fully focus on their well-being and that of their newborns. A release to the media notes that under the new version of the bank's policy, paid maternity leave will now be increased from 14 weeks to 16 weeks. Additionally, paid paternity leave will be extended from 4 weeks to 8 weeks. The policy also makes provisions for foster and adoptive parents. Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, your guide through the latest happenings in the world of business. Maho Gaming, rival to Supreme Ventures, is set to invest US $10 million into expansion aimed at revolutionizing the gaming landscape. Building upon what it has described as significant growth in its video lottery terminals business over the past 2 years. Trailblazing lottery company Maho Gaming Enterprises has announced it will be pumping the money into the expansion of its lottery products, including its offerings to retailers. Our commitment to innovation is evident in every aspect of Is-Easy's VLTs, from its appealing aesthetics to its advanced functionality. By introducing the only island-wide jackpot, which starts at $1 million and grows with every spin, we are setting a new standard of excitement and engagement for players. The company aims to deploy over 2,000 terminals island-wide by the end of 2025, marking a substantial expansion in its reach and impact. Investors are advised to note the recent activity by corporate executives in the buying and selling of their company stocks. The Jamaica Stock Exchange Limited has advised that an alternative director purchased 50,000 JSE shares during the period March 8 to March 11, 2024. Wigton Wind Farm advised that a connected party sold 49 million Wigton shares on March 11, 2024. Tropical Battery Company Limited has advised that a director purchased 177,000 Tropical shares on March 13, 2024. Mayberry Jamaican Equities Limited has advised that connected parties purchased a total of 4,000 shares during the period of March 6 to March 8, 2024. And Spur Tree Spices Jamaica Limited has advised that a director sold 11,839,518 Spur Tree shares on March 12, 2024. Jamaica's debt dipped at a pace that was ranked among the fastest in the world over a decade. According to international credit rating firm Fitch Rating, the upgrade of Jamaica's ratings to BB- reflects good progress with debt reduction, backed by a sound fiscal framework and a strong political commitment to deliver large primary surpluses. Fitch Ratings said it represents the third largest decline in debt burden among all rated sovereigns over this period. Only Ireland and Iceland experienced a larger decline. Jamaica is estimated to have reduced debt at the fastest pace in any jurisdiction worldwide since the pandemic in 2020. The debt decreased by 37 percentage points from the peak of 110% in 2020 to the current level of 73% of GDP. During trading on March 14, 2024, the top advancing stocks covered the investment, food, and logistics sectors on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Sterling Investments Limited US dollar shares advanced by 12.58% to close at 2 cents with 110 shares traded. Consolidated Bakeries Jamaica Limited shares advanced by 9.45% for a 19-cent price increase to close at $2.20 with 2 shares traded. Cargo Handlers Limited shares advanced by 8.4% for a $1.13 price growth to close at $14.45 with 201 shares traded. On the declining stocks that traders experienced on March 14, 2024, the top 3 losers covered the finance and real estate sectors. JMMB Group, 7.25%, variable rate JMD cumulative rate preference shares declined by 20.53% for a 62 cents price drop to close at $2.40 with 4 shares traded. 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited variable preference shares declined by 15% for a $32.70 price drop to close at $185.30 with 50 shares traded. 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited declined by 13.59% for a 59 cents price drop to close at $3.75 with 23,710 shares traded. Over on the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, trading on March 14, 2024, registered a volume of 340,158 shares, crossing the floor of the exchange valued at TT $4,963,666.62. Massey Holdings Limited was the volume leader with 223,166 shares, changing hands for a value of $957,854.64, followed by Scotia Bank Trinidad and Tobago Limited with a volume of 50,431 shares being traded for $3,617,773.49. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies, we turn to the Forex market. On March 14, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $17.1 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $18.6 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $155.23 and bought the US dollar for $154.91. The difference between the buy and sell rate was 32 cents, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of $3.98 from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $118.75 and bought for $114.77. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $7.78, selling it for $202.26 and buying it for $194.48. For the credit report tip of the day, we've been looking about the hesitance about talking to your bankers regarding your credit report. Now, don't be afraid to lean on your support system during this process. Whether it's family, friends, or a financial advisor, having someone to offer guidance, encouragement, and advice can make a world of difference. Reach out to trusted individuals who can provide support and help keep you accountable as you work towards your financial goals. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. Appreciate your company. Stay well informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.
In regional news, in the Bahamas, amid ongoing turmoil in Haiti, the Davis administration isn't letting up, saying repatriations will continue with more than 250 migrants sent to be returned home. More from our news.
It comes amid concern of a possible pause on repatriations due to closed airports and growing unfavorable conditions there. Just today, a powerful gang leader releasing a threatening message to political leaders who may participate in a planned transition council after unpopular Prime Minister Ariel Henry resigned. Amid all this, acting press secretary in the office of the Prime Minister, Keishla Adderley, says migrants will be repatriated to a city where violence is not running rampant.
Several apprehensions have taken place in the last few days, 4 of them, I think to be exact. Due to those apprehensions, some 150-odd Haitian migrants are being detained in Inagua, another 100 of them here in New Providence. Now, the consideration is for those 100 migrants who are here in New Providence to be transported to Inagua. And that entire group, it is being considered, will be taken by boat to Cape Haitian.
Then there are concerns about the safety of the officers carrying out the repatriation exercises.
And let me hasten to say that the transport of those groups is, of course, contingent on the safety of conditions on the ground. Nothing will move if it is deemed that there is a security risk that may pose some danger to members of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force who would be responsible for transporting that group.
Haiti's political crisis is continuing. Prime Minister Ariel Henry is stuck in Puerto Rico, even though he's promised to resign once a transitional council selects an interim government. But forming that council has proved a problem. Al Jazeera's John Holman reports.
It was meant to be the beginning of the answer to Haiti's problems. A transitional council called for by the United States and leaders from the CARICOM Caribbean trading bloc which would name an interim prime minister and work towards elections in the country. But Haiti's politicians can't agree who should fill the 7 voting positions on the council, with some leaders rejecting it altogether. Like Gu Felipe, a former rebel and convicted in the US of money laundering.
So it's the same guy, the same old guys, the same corrupted men that drove us where we are, the same one that armed the gangs, the youngsters in the ghettos. That's the same guys that the United States want to put back in power. It's not up to United States or friends not to CARICOM to decide who can rule Haiti, who can govern Haiti. It's up to the Haitian people to decide what kind of people they want to govern them.
While the politicians argue, Haiti burns. On Thursday, it was the country's national prison which went up in flames. Luckily, the prisoners had already been moved. And gangs remain in charge of most of the capital. The most powerful leader, Jimmy Chirizier, popularly known as Barbecue, also rejects the transitional council. Perhaps because its members would be bound to commit to a 1,000-strong Kenyan police force being deployed in the country, mostly funded by the US. It would inevitably affect the gang's own power on the streets. Meanwhile, for the most part, Haiti's airport, ports and borders remain closed. The only slim line of contact with the outside world, an air bridge that the United Nations says it's going to set up between the country and here in the neighbouring Dominican Republic. The US State Department spokesperson told Al Jazeera he still expected the Transitional Council to form.
As you just heard me say, just in the past few hours, we've seen a number of names submitted for this Presidential Transitional Council. We want to see it get off the ground as soon as possible. We want to see an interim prime minister appointed as soon as possible.
An island of optimism as the hopes of an immediate solution, or just the start of one, appeared to diminish. John Holman, Al Jazeera, the Dominican Republic.
The latest estimates indicate that there are over 30,000 migrants from neighboring Venezuela in Guyana. And in addressing the large influx, the country's Vice President, Dr. Brat Jagdeo, explained that these persons are largely returning Guyanese and their children who are entitled to Guyanese citizenship.
And we can't begrudge them. We can't begrudge them because they sought a better life elsewhere sometime in the past. And so even those who fled Guyana and their kids who were born, these are Guyanese children. Based on our constitution, they are citizens. They are eligible for citizenship here. They have Guyanese blood. I need to repeat that. And that's 90% of them. We have to extend some help to our own people when they come back here. Of course, we have to ensure that all those who stay here, they get a great education and they get help too, and housing and stuff. But these are our people. But this kind of racist view that somehow we must not do this because they're foreign or something like that.
Grenada's Prime Minister and Minister of National Security Dickon Mitchell has announced plans to bring to Parliament legislation and other measures to be implemented in the fight against illegal firearms.
Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell, who also serves as the Minister for National Security, announced that government, in collaboration with the Royal Grenada Police Force, is taking a holistic approach to address security concerns and combat the possession of illegal firearms among Grenadians. The initial step involved the establishment of a National Security Steering Committee.
And so a steering committee has been put together, comprising of representatives from a wide cross-section of government institutions, from the port, customs, the airport, the police, the prisons. That committee has begun its work. The idea is that ultimately we get to the point where the committee can recommend to the Cabinet and Government of Grenada a comprehensive policy document to create a National Security Committee to form the necessary leadership that is required to address all aspects of public safety. Second, on the issue of gun crime.
Implementing a 90-day amnesty is the second step in addressing illegal firearms.
We have laid before the Cabinet for its approval with a timeline of taking to Parliament this month of March legislation to amend the Firearms Act to first offer an amnesty for a period of no more than 90 days to persons who may have in their possession or who may know of others who have in their possession illicit, illegal, or unlawful firearms and ammunition, to grant them the opportunity to turn in those firearms and the ammunition without being prosecuted.
When the amnesty expires, government will then move to amend legislation to increase the severity of the punishment for the crime. Furthermore, with an aim of finding a solution for community-based disputes that can be solved away from the courthouses, government will also broaden the scope of mediation in various communities.
In sports, round the court with volleyball, Woolmer's Girls and Jamaica College are the winners of the 2024 Issa Urban Area Under-19 volleyball titles. In the match at the UE Mona Gymnasium on Thursday between Woolmer's and Hillel Academy, it was the girls who walked away as champions with a 25-22, 24-26, 18-25, 25-15, 15-7, 3-2 title-winning performance. In the final of the boys under-19, Jamaica College worked hard for their 25-9, 25-22, 27-29, 26-25, 3-1 victory against Papine High. Trinidad's South Marquee sporting event is set for this coming weekend. The Southern Games Organizing Committee held their media launch on Wednesday ahead of the return of the event. We have more in this report compiled by Adrian Laser.
The Southern Games Organizing Committee announced in their launch that the major sporting event is set to return this Saturday and Sunday at Skinner Park in San Fernando. The cycling and track and field meet will host a total of 29 events, with under 15, under 17, under 20, and open age groups all on display. San Fernando Mayor Robert Paris expressed elation regarding the timely return of the event.
There is an issue with crime in this country, and we do believe that giving young people the platform to play sports as an alternative is something that we all grew up knowing Trinidad and Tobago to be very sports-centered, especially within the communities. And we are happy that the Southern Games can now facilitate young persons from as far as Point Fortin and the other southern environment, in the southern environs.
And Port of Spain.
And where? And Port of Spain as well.
Chairman of the Southern Games Organizing Committee, Anthony Comisiong, thanked the mayor for preparing Skinner Park to host the games.
The talk is Skinner Park too small, nothing can happen on it. But he took the challenge, and they were able to assist us in bringing it back. The games, they are going to help us fix the track. You know, and it's really heartbreaking, you know, to see. I was there up here last night, and it's looking good. So we will have some good athletics at the games. Of course we do. So we're looking forward to have athletics at Skinner's Park. So it's a big thing, Southern Games going to Skinner's Park.
Cycling coordinator of the event, Novely Bishop, who was one of the individuals responsible for the revival of the Games in 1990, spoke on its long-term plans for the Games.
And Southern Games is something that we used to look forward to. And that was a game that throughout the world, people used to look forward to. Because you have so many various countries taking part in Southern Games in those times, it was something else to look forward to. I can remember in the days when you're looking for a ticket to buy to go Southern Game, you couldn't get it. It had people scalping tickets. And you know, those days was something else. Southern Games was large. And what we're trying to do right now is to try to bring it back as close as possible to those days.
Wayne Cunningham, TTT Sport.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. Have a great weekend.